Tera Blast is unhealthy. However, why is this the case? Well, it's important to first make a clear distinction. Tera Blast is unhealthy, not broken. That term is often used to refer to Pokemon that are wholly oppressive and are generally imbalanced. Tera Blast is not without its drawbacks, and it's clear that these drawbacks are pretty major. It requires you to commit both your Terastallization and one of your 4 Precious Move slots. These are pretty major trade-offs when you consider how important having flexibility is in really any competitive format. So, what defines an unhealthy option? If something is unhealthy, it has a more subtle dynamic with the metagame around it, possessing deeply ingrained qualities that don't seem immediately obvious in their impact, but have ripple effects that can change the way in which players maneuver games and team building. In particular, this encourages a polar gameplay style known as matchup fishing, where a given team style or Pokemon will utterly ravage in some situations and completely fumble the ball in others with very little in between. Tera Blast falls near perfectly under this umbrella, being borderline useless where it isn't applicable, but breaking some matchups wide open with very little room for counterplay. Aside from being a matchup fisher's wet dream, Tera Blast also possesses several other qualities that make it worthy of further evaluation as an unhealthy tool. Tera Blast's tied to Terastallization and how it encourages usage of the mechanic is a rather big caveat, and in particular is what makes it stand out as the suspect quality of it. Tera is an excellent and generally healthy mechanic in a vacuum, being a great way to provide teams with vital options and matchups that may not be all that great without any intrinsic opportunity cost to the builder. However, Tera Blast encourages using your Tera as a means to snipe and ruin the defensive integrity of your standard checks. Without Tera Blast, you may be able to flip around your Pokemon's defensive profile on the opposing Pokemon that would normally beat it, but you will never be able to just outright remove them, as you'll still be limited by your Pokemon's original move pool. This is a huge reason why Volcarona is broken by Tera Blast, as without the move, it would still have to answer to Pokemon like Moltres or Heatran, and would still likely lose the 1v1 against them. Pokemon that use Tera to get stabbed on a coverage move may not care much about Tera Blast, but you're still able to actually expect these coverage options because you know that they are available in the Pokemon's kit. Tera Dark on Zamazenta and Tera Fairy on Iron Moth lean into enabling pressure into their main checks, but you already expect Crunch and Dazzling Gleam, so you're still already planning around the potential of these moves pressuring your main checks for them. The negative dynamic involved with Tera Blast suddenly removing and applying explosive pressure into checks unexpectedly is not really a factor here, or at least not as much of one. Regieleki is an extreme example, as it lives and dies on Tera Blast. Otherwise, its fundamental problem with ground types does not go anywhere. If it would want to use its Tera to be ground types, it would have to get a bit more creative with its Tera and moveset in general, which to me is a far more interesting dynamic and would actively reward more creative set and team building. In other words, you should have to work for and earn this payoff. Tera Blast diminishes these deliberate and healthy applications of Tera by forcing these fishing-based dynamics. Removing it, even aside from lowering threat saturation and reducing some matchup fishing, has clearly healthy ramifications. Furthermore, even leading to the potential freedom of otherwise great additions to the metagame in the aforementioned Volcarona and Regieleki. This is why I'm always going to advocate for the removal of Tera Blast, whether or not the mass majority of players disagree with me. Eat it, losers. I won the World Cup.